I'm going to start this video by asking you, how many weapons do you think will exist in Black Ops 6's version of Warzone by the time it releases? Well, take whatever number you had and throw it straight out the window, because the answer is that there's going to be over 170 weapons. And if that sounds confusing and or concerning, that's pretty much the entire story for this upcoming integration of Black Ops 6 with Warzone. I'm going to go over everything that's happening with this new integration, explain why things are happening, including some very curious details surrounding the maps. And you'll get the full rundown, not only for everything happening with Warzone and Black Ops 6, but also why it's happening and why some of it is downright confusing. If that sounds bloody swell, please like this video and subscribe. We're on the road to 200k. So to answer the burning question, Black Ops 6 is integrating with Warzone on November 14th. That's bringing with it a brand new map, Area 99, all of the Omni movement systems that we're seeing in Black Ops 6, the new audio system that we've seen in Black Ops 6, and the brand new Ricochet anti-cheat that's been deployed in Black Ops 6. Now, to make it fundamentally clear, this has probably been quite a technical upgrade for Call of Duty Warzone, and the reason for that is because it's moving from an older version of Infinity Ward's engine to a newer version of Infinity Ward's engine. And this will make a lot of sense when we talk about some of the weirder and slightly more questionable details about this update, like why we're getting an old version of Urzikstan, and we'll touch on more of that a little bit later. But generally speaking, there was no way for these guys to bring across a new audio system, a brand new anti-cheat system, and all of the other features that they wanted from Black Ops 6 without taking Warzone from the old client that it existed on to the new client, which is the most recent version of Call of Duty and the most recent version of the IW engine. And that explains right now, when you currently open Call of Duty Warzone, it opens an entirely separate client that's completely separated from Black Ops 6. That changes on November 14th, and everything becomes seamlessly integrated into one COD HQ experience, all tied under the new engine, all tied under the upgraded anti-cheat, and all tied under the upgraded audio system. The first major staple of the new update is Area 99. Area 99 is a new Resurgence map that's dropping into the game and is based in the Nevada desert, which is a sort of backstory for the existence of Nuketown. And to clarify, that is the only upgrade that we're getting in terms of maps. Area 99 is the only map that's coming, and despite the numerous upon numerous references to Avalon, Avalon will not be deploying in Season 1, won't be deploying in Season 1 Reloaded, and at this point, it's probably pretty safe to assume the only big map experience we're getting will be in March 2025 with Verdansk, and then we won't see Avalon until at least end of year 2025. This is a really disappointing thing to see. I don't know why they're doing it this way. I don't know why they feel the need to keep Urzikstan around, especially when we know that Avalon's ready to go, and it's probably the most questionable decision I think I've seen Call of Duty make. I firmly, genuinely believe some people are going to go, oh sweet, I'll try Warzone again. Log in, see the old Urzikstan map, wonder why it's there, and then leave. And I also think the Area 99 map, for all it's worth so far, doesn't look all that appealing. And if it's any indication that they're keeping Rebirth in rotation with Area 99, they aren't exactly speaking volumes of confidence about this map themselves. Yep, you've heard it correctly. Rebirth Island is of course staying, which we probably anticipated considering its popularity, but what's surprising is that it's not going away. It's actually going to be there from day one at launch, and Area 99 is basically getting no pedestal, not really being put in the limelight, and to me, that maybe speaks of a development team who isn't too fond of the odds of Area 99 getting a good reception. Now, I have my own beliefs about Area 99, namely that I think it actually was a zombies map that got flipped into a Resurgence map last minute, but that would be a long-winded conspiracy theory that we can talk about on another day. But not having a new big map is just one of the generally confusing things that's also occurring in this Warzone update. Now, I do want to specify, this is a very large integration. There are some very promising and good-looking things, and Season 1 of Black Ops 6 looks phenomenal, with 5 new maps for multiplayer, a new zombies map, the Warzone integration. This is genuinely a very good Season 1. But there are some very curious decisions happening with Warzone that we will be going through throughout this update. As mentioned, Urzikstan is returning at Season 1, and this will also be the home ground for ranked play, which is finally returning to Big Map, thank God. Please don't ever do that on Resurgence again, for the love of Christ. No one ever wants to see that again. And that is happening in Season 1 Reloaded. But what's really curious about this mode and about this map specifically on Battle Royale is that Urzikstan is actually getting reverted. Yep, you've heard it here first. Urzikstan is getting the new movement, it's getting all the new systems, all the new audio, but effectively as a byproduct of this engine port and them moving from the old engine to the new engine, the version of Urzikstan that they were operating with was the version that had no changes. So Pop-Off Power Plant wouldn't have changed, there wouldn't be Superstore, and basically any changes made to this map, which weren't that much in the first place because they seemingly neglected it for an entire year, are being reverted, so that you will have to live with the base version of Urzikstan until March 2025. At this point, I can only assume that somebody at Call of Duty just actively hates big map experiences and has decided to rebrand the game to Call of Duty Resurgence, but what the hell do I know? Another thing that's quite curious to note during this entire blog post is that both for Resurgence and for Battle Royale, they do not specify which modes are returning. They say that Plunder, Battle Royale, and Resurgence are coming back, but they are not specifying whether solos, trios, duos, and quads are all coming back, or if it's only going to be certain playlists. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Call of Duty Warzone right now can only be played in solos and quads on the big map experience, and I believe duos and quads in Resurgence, and they've taken away all of the extra matchmaking playlists for seemingly no particular reason. So on top of telling us that they're reverting Urzikstan and that Rebirth Island is going to be available, they've opted not to tell us what actual modes are going to be available, and there's probably a good reason for that. And the reason is that not all of them are going to be available. So keep an eye out for that on November 14th when this integration occurs, because there's a very good chance that the reason they didn't want to talk about this is because they know they're probably going to upset some people. A nice new quality of life change is happening with the general upgrade of this game though. There will be brand new cinematics and animations for Infill, Exfil, Gulag, and Winner Circle from day one, which is nice to see. Generally speaking, I think there has been a need for a little bit of an upgrade on that front, and I'm glad we're seeing that happen. Now, a new UI system's also transferring across, which has occurred obviously already in Black Ops 6, and this does apply to loadouts and weapons as well. We will now have a primary weapon, secondary weapon, a melee weapon, tactical, lethal, and 3 perks, but curiously, we are seeing the introduction of the wildcard system. And what that means is that you will be able to pick between things like Overkill, you'll be able to pick between things like Gunfighter, which allows you to have 8 attachments on a weapon, and a handful of other wildcards as well. I need you guys to stick with me a little bit for this bit, because this is where things get a little bit confusing. Now, Black Ops 6 has generally aimed to simplify Warzone. For example, they're getting rid of the inventory system, which is great to see. They've also decided to change a few things surrounding UI and general interaction, which is good to see. And ultimately, the game is just heading in the direction of a simplified Warzone at launch experience. But in their infinite wisdom, they've decided to reintroduce Overkill as something that not everybody has. They've also reintroduced things like Gunfighter, which means that you can have 8 attachment weapons, which hypothetically means if you took 2 loadouts, you would be able to have 2 8 attachment weapons. Yeah, there's a lot going on with this wildcard system, and I gotta say, I'm not a fan of it being in Warzone. Overkill should just be available for everybody by default, and I see no need for any of these new systems like Gunfighter and wildcards to be introduced to the game, because it just makes it more complicated, makes it more hard to balance, makes it more generally unbalanced, and I just see it being a bit of a mess, if I'm honest. As mentioned before, there will be 136 different primary weapons, 35 different secondary weapons, and 15 different melee weapons at the release of Warzone's integration with Black Ops 6, which is going to be very messy. It's worth mentioning and talking about this because there has been an ongoing commitment to bring Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 weapons across, and the only reason they're doing this is because it's a legal obligation, because they promised they would do so people would buy more skins. Now, ultimately, this just means that Modern Warfare 2 weapons and Modern Warfare 3 weapons are going to be nerfed into oblivion. Everybody knows that, and they've done this pretty much every time. Forced obsolescence is pretty much the only way that they have been able to balance this game effectively. Now, the problem with this system, and the problem with having nearly 170 different weapons in a single game, is that they're going to make mistakes. And what I mean by that is every time they update the game, maybe they accidentally re-enable a one-shot fire shotgun, Or maybe those dual-wield automatic pistols from Modern Warfare 2 end up being accidentally overpowered again. Or maybe they make a sweeping attachment change that's incompatible with everything else. There is a lot of room for mistakes here, and we saw during the life cycle of Modern Warfare 3 that this is a mistake they have made often. The number of times this development team accidentally enabled the Doom shotgun, which one-shot people, happened on at least 2 to 3 occasions. The number of times a fire shotgun or a full automatic pistol accidentally got rebuffed and unnerfed. Total shit show. And I really don't know why they're doing this. They really need to just go back to the drawing board with balance. And I actually think it's a universal mistake. And the worst part about all of this as well is that we now have a new attachment system in Black Ops 6 where there are no downsides to attachments on Black Ops 6 weapons, which means that the attachments in Black Ops 6 work wholly differently from how they do in Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, and it just creates a whole new can of worms, and I wouldn't want to be a developer trying to fix it, and that's just the truth. So, a whole lesson on balancing to be done here. I generally think that it's going to be a complete mess over the next year, and I think it's a mess that they're inheriting because for whatever reason, there seems to be this infatuation with letting people keep their skins for 3 or 4 years. Alongside all of the tacticals and lethals that you are used to, there are a handful of new ones. There is Neurogas, which we're not entirely sure how it works and how it's technically different from the gas grenade. There's a spy camera, which, as we've seen in the multiplayer, allows you to mark opponents. There will also be the introduction of impact grenades, which I very much do not like the look of, the blast trap, and the spring mine. These will basically sub out some of the tacticals and lethals from the other ones. For example, the blast trap will replace claymores, spring mines will replace bouncing betties, but I do have some general concerns about balancing with those, and I hope it's something that they stay on top of. The availability of different field upgrades and also different kill streaks is changing as well. The munitions box, the heartbeat sensor, deployable cover, portable radars, portable buy stations, decontamination stations, armor boxes, trophy systems, flares, loadout drops, scramblers, war cry, utility boxes, portable redeploy beacons, portable redeploy drones, recon drones, and the morphine injector are all going to be available field upgrades at launch. In terms of score streaks, we'll have a UAV, counter UAV, advanced UAV, precision airstrike, bunker buster, supply UAV, care package, cluster strike, SAM turret, sentry turret, foresight, and napalm. Napalm and the SAM turret are going to be very interesting ones. The SAM one I actually think could be quite cool. The napalm strike I am very worried about, especially in terms of getting deleted through buildings. There are going to be 18 perks available at launch, and I think most of these look pretty good. I don't really have any major concerns about any of the perks that are going to be available. Generally speaking, they look fairly balanced. But again, as mentioned, there will also be 5 different wildcards, and I don't think those should be in the game at all. There will also be lootable perks that you can find on the map that you can equip on top of your base perks, and this includes Irradiated and Shrouded, which are existing ones that are already there. And of course, Specialist returns too. And on top of having over 150 odd weapons to deal with, they also have 157 operators. And dear God, I hope none of them turn invisible or have random skin issues that make their heads go missing. Haven't seen that before now, have we, Call of Duty? Emotes and sprays are returning to the new setup, which is good to see. I think everybody's pretty happy with that in terms of sprays and stuff like that coming back to Warzone. And there will also be a quick inventory. This is not the same as having a full inventory system. These are just you being able to see what you have in terms of gas mask, plates, in terms of your equipment and the weapons you have, and being able to quickly drop them too. And there will still be universal ammunition satchels for you to utilize so that you can pick up ammo of every type, even if you're not using it for that weapon. There will be satchels themselves returning to the game too, with plate satchels and munition satchels allowing you to carry more ammo and more armor retrospectively. On top of that, we are seeing the return of the Krieg assault rifle. We're also seeing a new SAUG SMG, which is supposed to be some sort of fast compact SMG. We're also seeing a brand new shotgun, the Maelstrom. And we're also seeing the AMR-4 mod, which is a 50 cal sniper. Allegedly, there will also be a Sirin 9mm, which is basically some sort of weird-looking modernized Vector. So a bunch of new weapons that are coming in that could be quite good. For those of you who like their conversion kits are returning, including Dragon's Breath for a 12 gauge, a buffer stock, and also a burst fire conversion kit for the XM4 and the Compact 92. Now, that's pretty much it in terms of everything coming to Warzone. There is Area 99, there's ranked play for Big Map, which are the two sort of key standout features, and of course every other system of Black Ops 6 transferring over. I will say there seems to be a fairly concentrated effort here from Call of Duty in terms of making Warzone feel part of the Black Ops 6 ecosystem, which is good to see, and there are some really nice improvements being made, not only to the UI and to the interface, but just generally in terms of how Black Ops 6 operates. But what I will say is this: the pitfalls for Warzone this year are extremely, extremely large. Balancing is going to be a nightmare for the development team, and I just don't see it going well with the number of weapons available in the game. I can see a number of messes occurring with that very, very quickly. The other big thing that I think I'm going to see very early on is just incompatibility with Black Ops 6 items and Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 items. Granted, they probably will just nerf the MW2 and MW3 weapons into oblivion, but that just begs the question of why the hell are we dealing with them anyway? The game probably would have been better off with a full reset. And without a doubt, the biggest mistake and the biggest confusion is what the hell are they doing with Big Map? Black Ops 6 is the most successful Call of Duty experience over the last couple of years, and granted, some of that is generally down to Game Pass, but the idea that you're not going to capitalize on this and basically just leave Big Map to oblivion is not great. Verdansk is most definitely coming in March of 2025, but how much momentum are they going to lose by then, and how many people are not going to be bothered with Warzone because of this neglect that they've basically decided to go for? And the answer's pretty big. I genuinely do believe players will return to Black Ops 6 and go, oh cool, there's a new Black Ops 6 Warzone, I wonder what's new, and then they load into Big Map and they're like, isn't this the Modern Warfare 3 map? Yeah, not looking forward to it. Overarchingly, I think some big flaws could potentially occur with balancing. I think some big flaws could occur with the new gunfighter system, with 8 attachment weapons causing havoc. And generally, I just think balance is going to be the biggest key feature of this integration that I can see going wrong fairly quickly. Now, I'm really excited to see the return of Big Map Ranked. I'm really excited to see that it looks like the Warzone is trending in a good direction, but it's all coming down to execution. And the track record over the last year has not been great, and quite frankly, these guys haven't exactly earned themselves much praise. But I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts and feelings in the comment section down below. I think the biggest one that I find weird about all of this is that Area 99 isn't getting its own playlist for like a week or two. They're just rotating it in with Resurgence. Seems very odd in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section down below. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.